By the 1800s, France had a serious case of empire envy. Britain had India, Spain had Latin America, and regrets. Belgium had just claimed the Congo with 0 qualifications. And France had fashion, wine, and the crushing realization that its glory days were mostly in the past. So naturally, they decided to invade Vietnam. Vietnam had been running itself just fine for centuries, with dynasties, culture, Confucian exams, rice farming, and a long tradition of politely resisting invaders. But in the eyes of the French, Vietnam looked like a cute new addition to their collection of places they didn't understand but still wanted to own. The excuse? Religion. France claimed it needed to protect Catholic missionaries. The reality? France wanted a colony in Southeast Asia because it felt left out of the global empire club. So they sent in the navy. In the mid-1800s, French warships showed up along the Vietnamese coast like they'd gotten lost on the way to a wine tasting. They bombarded ports, seized cities, and announced, "This is French Indochina now," as if Vietnam had agreed to any of it. But Vietnam wasn't going down easy. For decades, Vietnamese resistance fighters, guerrilla groups, and royal loyalists kept rising up. France responded with more troops, more forts, and more propaganda about bringing civilization. What that really meant: tea plantations, forced labor, heavy taxes, and baguettes where no baguettes belonged. By the 1880s, France had officially stitched together Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia into a little empire. Frankenstein they called French Indochina. From Paris, it looked like progress. From Hanoi, it looked like occupation. French officials set up a colonial administration that governed with all the subtlety of a wine bottle to the face. They taught French in schools, replaced local leaders with loyal puppets, and restructured the economy to export resources back to Europe, leaving most Vietnamese people poor, landless, and angry. But the Vietnamese, they didn't forget. Resistance simmered for decades, even as France tried to polish its image with railroads and Art Deco buildings. Then came the 20th century and the return of fire. In the 1940s, Japan briefly shoved France out during World War II. When the war ended, Vietnam thought, "Hey, this is our shot at independence." France thought, "Actually, we're back." Enter Ho Chi Minh, a communist, nationalist, and former pastry chef. Yes, really, Ho Chi Minh declared Vietnamese independence in 1945 using lines from the U.S. Declaration of Independence, a move that aged like milk. France said absolutely not, and launched the First Indochina War to reclaim its colony. It was long, bloody, and wildly expensive for France. Vietnamese guerrillas fought using tunnels, bicycles, and raw determination, while France poured in troops, money, and colonial nostalgia. In 1954, it all came crashing down at the Battle of Dien Bien Phu. Vietnamese forces, led by General Vo Nguyen Giap, surrounded and destroyed a fortified French base in the hills. The defeat was so humiliating, France basically rage-quit the region. Vietnam was free. Well, until the US showed up, but that's a whole other roast. Moral of the story: if you invade a country just to feel relevant, don't be surprised when they hand you a flaming L and directions back to Paris. This has been History Roasted.